This video will show you how to replace the Serpentine belt tensioner on a Ford Edge with a 3.5 liter engine. This will be mounted along the passenger side of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Let's make our way up inside the engine compartment. As we make our way down along the passenger side of the engine, we're looking for our Serpentine belt tensioner. Now for our Serpentine belt tensioner, we're going to want to have a tool with a 1/2 inch drive. It needs to be a thin wall. We're coming all the way down onto the tensioner. In the tensioner, you're going to find that you have a squared notch. We're pressing our tool into that square notch, and then we're going to pivot this clockwise. Let's just have a quick look down in this area. We're paying attention to our belt routing. It goes over some pulleys and under others. Now, while I hold pressure in this area, I'm carefully reaching down towards my alternator along the front. That's our front upper pulley, and we'll carefully pull the belt off of that pulley. I'm just using a long angled pick. We'll get underneath this belt. Obviously, we're being careful not to cause any damage here. Now I can release tension from my belt tensioner here. We want to be careful with that. It is under spring pressure. Now that we have the belt out of the way, we're making our way all the way down to the tensioner mounting hardware. First, I'll point it out. Now, as far as the hardware, if you were looking along the rearward side of the tensioner, we have one bolt down here, we have a second bolt up here, and a third bolt towards the front. All three of these will be an 8mm. There's our first mounting bolt. A thorough inspection. This bolt looks good. Let's continue on to all others. Now we're moving to our center bolt. As far as this center bolt, you're going to find that it can only come out so far due to the tensioner. For this, I'm going to be using a ratcheting wrench. I'm going to start loosening this. Now, of course, I do want to be careful not to get my tool stuck. So I'm just going to start turning it until I have just enough room to be able to remove my wrench. Then on to our final mounting bolt. That bolt is loosened. On to the last. There's that one. So now you could try to reach down in this area with two hands, one to hold the tensioner and one to remove the mounting bolt. I'm just going to use my angled pick. Okay, let's start pulling this up and out of here. Slide this up and out through this corner. There it is, friend. Let's just fully remove that mounting bolt. We can set this aside for recycling. Prior to installation of any brand new part, let's make sure we clean and inspect our mounting area. For this, I'm using a wire brush. I want to try to clean all three mounting points where my mounting bolts will go, and that's also where the tensioner would sit against. Just a quick wipe here, close inspection. We want to make sure there's no miscellaneous debris. You can use parts cleaner, just be aware there is still another belt down in this area. Now as I start bringing my tensioner into position, you'll find that I already have one of my mounting bolts through my port on the tensioner itself. At this point, I'm going to carefully start bringing this into position, starting that mounting bolt, but we're leaving it loose. Now you may find it fairly difficult to get two hands down in here, starting your mounting bolts. You can also try holding the tensioner using a long pick if necessary, whatever's easiest for you. Just gonna get my bolt back in there. Start bringing it over to being in position here. Now getting this tensioner aligned can prove to be difficult. I held the tensioner with my angled pick. I brought it into position, and then I started in my mounting bolt. After having the first mounting bolt started in, I'm using the pick directly through the port on my tensioner into the port on the engine, where the mounting bolt would be. Now I'll install my second mounting bolt along the lower rearward corner. I just have mine on my small grabber here. Just attempting to start that in. We'll maneuver the tensioner as necessary, get it aligned. There's our second bolt. Now let's go ahead and start in that third mounting bolt. After that, we can lightly bottom these out and then torque them to 97 inch-pounds. Now I'm going to torque each one of these bolts to 97 inch-pounds as I mentioned. There's our first one. Let's do the same to all others. Okay, that's all three of them. Now at this point, let's prepare to reinstall our serpentine belt. Now as for the serpentine belt, we need to carefully make our way all the way down towards the bottom. Once I get down to the bottom, I need to try to get over my crank pulley, over the AC pulley along the front bottom, and then I'm trying to go all the way up towards the alternator. Now I'm going to find that I can only go so far because I have to relieve tension from my tensioner. Of course, if you're working from up top, you can use a long pick to guide things as necessary. See if we can use this pry bar. I want to try to hold this on along the rearward pulley as I continue on along my AC compressor pulley, which is the bottom front. There we are. Now at this point, before I continue on applying pressure on the belt, bringing it up towards my alternator but under my tensioner, I'm going to make my way up to the tensioner using my 1/2-inch drive ratchet here. We'll start applying some pressure, relieving tension from the area here so we can get the belt in the proper position. Get some swing there. Okay, at this point I have the belt over all of my pulleys, but as I look closely, I can see that I am displaced on my AC compressor pulley along the front. If I was to leave it like this, start the vehicle and run it, I could cause damage to the belt or other engine components. Pay close attention to the belt and the belt routing. Go ahead and slide this into place. We'll continue on. So at this point, as I'm looking closely, it does look as though I'm sitting over each one of my pulleys properly. Now at this point, I can release tension from that belt tensioner, start pivoting it back to its rested position, remove our tool. Okay friend, we finished our installation. Now the next thing we need to do is go ahead and start the vehicle for 5 seconds. Turn it right back off. Make your way back out here and you're going to triple check the belt, confirming it's seated on each one of the pulleys properly. Make any adjustments as necessary. After that, you can go ahead and restart the vehicle, close the hood, and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.